As today we come to you from Indianapolis Motor Speedway, my hometown track. But we're not on the oval. We're doing a pair of 20-lap sprint races on the IMS infield road courses. Currently right now, we have qualifications underway as the first group is out. But some parts of the broadcast don't change, and not changing. And joining me, as always, as he has for all season long and will be for the remainder of the season, is Lukas Moody. Lukas, good to have you here, dialing in from Muncie, just outside the Indianapolis area. Good to have you here. First, I know you're very familiar with the road course here, but it's good to have you here for the first IndyCar race, sprint races here in the VOR series. Talk about what you see, and also we got a bit of a interesting season going on. This is my first race jumping into the series this season, but 3 different winners over the first 3 races, which that is a pretty good stat for the VOR series. They have 41 different winners over 14 different seasons, so having 3 freshies is a good start to your season, and also a pretty good points championship. So what are you seeing so far, and what do you want to point to as we got kind of a different situation today with sprint races, no pit stops?
Yeah, Gary, thank you. Of course, this is our first road course of the season. Up until now, we've only been at the ovals. We're only turning left. So these road courses require a completely different set of skills to be driving. So we could see a huge shakeup in the point standings today, which is led by Kyle Klenworth. And he has a 2-point lead over Roden Evening, and we'll take a look at that in more specific later. And here it is, perfect, just right on cue. It is Kyle Klenworth, and then the rookie just 2 points back, Roden Evening, and Kostek Solowaj in third, a little bit farther back, but he's still right there. And if either of those drivers make a mistake, he is there for the taking. And then look at that, the rookies are coming in full force this season, as 4th through 6th are all rookies. That's Sebastian Dufresne, Andras Vince, Bryce Saucier, and then 7th and 8th will be Pam Van Gastel and Shane Kosher. So you see, it is a very tight race for this championship standings, and like I mentioned earlier, a road race can shake it all up. So we didn't think there'd be a rule on what tire you have to use for the race. But look at this, Nunez, who, if you remember, his quickest lap was set on those primary tires. And Amand Lal and a lot of those other Fast 6 drivers behind, they all had their fastest lap on the alternate tires. So maybe there was a rule where you have to start on the tire that your fastest lap qualifying was, or maybe they just chose these out and Luis Nunez said, I think the primes are better, and Lal thinks opposite, thinks the alts are better.
Well, sometimes you got to do something different than the guy next to you, just so you can get a better strategy. But Nunez starting with the primes, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th on the alts. Sol back on the primes. Altina and Aiden on the alts. So only 2 cars in the top 10 on the primes. Coming to we're starting the first 2 sprint races here. Green flag will be shown momentarily as Nunez Lal on the front row. Waiting. Here we go. Green flag. And Solvich is going to try to take it 3 wide into turn 1. 4 wide for the lead with Liam O'Sullivan taking a peek here. Solvich sends it. And he uses the overrun area to pull off the pass for the lead. Side by side with teammates a little bit further back. O'Sullivan and F-Tink. Got to watch when you race your teammate here. Here we come through the turn 4 infield portion, now through the chicane, down the backstretch.
Yeah, that was a great move from Solowaj. Very, very risky, very on the limit. But now you can see, these alternate tires. Oh, you can see how aggressive Lal and Evening are being on these alternate tires to the drivers who are on these primes. They know they have to strike quickly. They have to strike now before those red wall tires wear out.
Lal
right now they're doing it.
You're right. Lal's got to attack now while the getting's good, and then he's got to put a buffer on, and then there's going to be a trade-off in the pace of those tires, and that's when Nunez is going to have to try to get this all back. But right now, Solej is going to have to push, and that might not be exactly what he wants to do because he's just going to wear those tires out a lot more, weaving down the front stretch, trying to break the draft. The draft is in play here. Push the pass is activated. You're going to see drivers activating that. They'll have 200 seconds, and frankly, 200 seconds in a 20-lap sprint race. They can use it every single lap if they want.
Yeah, that's a great point you bring up. Because it's such a short race, because the straights here aren't that long, there's not many. That's a white car through the grass. I believe that's Nicholas Presti. It is. the 94 machine's going to lose a lot of positions there from Nicholas Pressey eMotorsports. It's not the best start, but now we have a fight for the lead. It's Nunez on the inside of Solowaj.
He gets the pass, he overcooks the corner, and Costa gets the position back, and that's going to set up a possible opportunity for Lal coming into the turn 2 portion of the infield.
Yeah, now coming down the penultimate corners of this road course here, Nunez really looking aggressive on the attack, but I don't think there's a reason that he has to be, Gary. Because he's on these prime tires, because he's on tires that just will last longer and hold their pace for a more amount of laps, he can really bide his time here. He can be patient as long as he defends from Monlaw behind. He does not have to be overly aggressive with what he does to Solowaj. Definitely doesn't want to ruin his race doing a dumb dive bomb into the back straight.
Here is that pass. And you're going to see how here's the replay of the start. Look where it goes 4 wide. Liam was thinking about taking it 4 wide. He actually kind of backed off a little bit. I think he may have been the first to blink there. And then he gets through the corner. He is going to have a car on his outside. But that is a heck of a start. Very good racecraft by all of those drivers to make it through a very chaotic first straightaway green flag into the turn 1, which is a low speed turn. So you got to really slow up and all that time hope that someone doesn't pile into the back of you. But right now it's the Solowaj, Luis Nunez, Lal, O'Sullivan, and F-Tink, your top 5.
And once again, Nunez now probably, he backs off from Solowaj, giving him a little bit of space, letting him push out those alternate tires, and now he can make his attack maybe like 6 or 7 laps from now. But clips the grass there. We saw a lot of people do that in qualifying. It didn't end well for them, so I'm glad that he didn't lose the car there, because that grass can be very, very tricky. But yeah, look at that, all up and down the grid. These drivers using that push to pass, because like Gary mentioned, they have so much of it compared to how short this race is, that a lot of these drivers will just be on the button every single lap. And now here we are back in the field a little bit more. That is the 22 car of Heitzma. So this is for 13th. This is battle for 13th. That is Vinci behind. So look at this, is the closest battle on track right now, as these drivers are all approaching this back straightaway here.
Yeah, a bit of a draft train going on here. We got Vinci, we got Christensen, Kinder, Orman, all back here. Right now, your biggest gainer is Jaco Steigers. He just made it up into the top 10. He's up 5. But we were watching Heitzma. Heitzma is up 4 from where they started. So some drivers a little bit further back, picking them off one by one, realizing that this is a sprint race, and you gotta go. We're at lap 4 of 20, getting ready to come to lap 5, and we're already a quarter of the way through this race.
Yeah, and of course, race 1 of race 2. And like I mentioned a little bit earlier, that we have a car locking up, going into the grass in the penultimate corner. That is Katie Polak of the 42 machine for Brabham Motorsport, and that's going to lose her a lot of spots.
Yeah, Inch, Dufresne, Pym get on around, and they move on up as Katie looks like clips the gore point that I was talking about right there, where the grass and the oval kind of meet, but back under full power down the front straightaway. Got a battle for position. Vitor Guilherme is right now losing positions as we go 3 wide, almost 3 wide, going into the infield portion of turn 4. Jesper Orman, former series champion, gets around. Move Vitor back down to 17th.
Yeah, now we have a replay of that Guilherme. So let's see if he just overcooks up those rears.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to have to probably adjust on the brake bias a little bit there. Looks like the back end was moving a little bit faster than the front end there.
Yeah,
meanwhile,
just
front. Sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, it's just, you said it perfectly right. Just had too much speed coming into the corner, overcooks those rear tires, and just that sends you around, really.
Meanwhile, back up front, it is Kostic with a 0.3 of a second lead over Luis Nunez. As Nunez creeps closer to that rear attenuator coming into turns 1 and 2. This is turn 3 right here. A little bit of a straightaway into turn 4. Turn 4 used to exit on the 5, which continued on the turn 4 portion, but they reprofiled that now. That used to be the old Grand Prix course. Down the Holman straight. As we watch in the in-car here, Luis Nunez trying to stay in the draft, and he gets right up in there. Look at all that counter steer under braking coming into turn 7 through 8 through 9. Here we come into 10.
Yeah, battle for the leads really spicing up now. This could be that turning point that I was talking about, Gary, where those alternates fall off, the primaries keep their pace, and I think Luis Nunez is gonna look for a move down into turn 1 here. So Solowaj really want to prioritize his exit here. Brake early, turn in hard, get on the gas as quickly as possible, and just hope that those alternates still have some rear tire. Now they're both on the button here, and this is going to be really close coming down into turn 1.
And he's right there. Again, you talked about a little bit earlier that he doesn't really have to push the point so much. He's not being threatened right now by law. So that's probably helping out things an awful lot. In fact, Kosick probably wishes that law was right up there being a little bit of a deterrence to the leader, but it's not happening as they trying the weave down the Holman straight. Nunez tries to send it to the inside, but thought a little bit better of it. Saw that car major wiggles there as he tried to keep that under control under braking. So he is trying to gain a lot of time under braking there. Now back out onto the oval portion. This is the south end of the racetrack through the south end of the short chute. Back into the infield portion of turn 1, the old snake pit back in the day. And now we'll see if he's got himself in position as those red tires, I think, might be giving way a little bit as we watch the Kosick Solowaj car slide through the corners now to the inside, under attack to the outside. Here it is on the button, both on the button. Is he going to take a look to the inside? Nope. He's going to get a little bit of draft. He's going to get, and is he giving, on the outside, and he's just going to run him up the racetrack, and he almost sends him to the grass, and here comes Lal now.
Yeah, it almost looked like Nunez lost his front wing for a bit. It gets right back on.
The inside, and he squeezes on through. And that's exactly what Solowaj wants to see as he moves out to a 0.4 of a second lead.
Yeah, so I wonder if that car now is front wing damage for Nunez. Was just tapped that rear right tire of Solowaj a little bit, and speed with these fragility of cars, that is enough to just lose a lot of downforce. But Nunez now has to regather himself. Oh my gosh, this huge contact for the 88. Car went flying there. That's the 42 of Katie Pollock. That was a scary one.
We'll check that out again on replay.
And here it is. He just
Okay, so what happened is that was it started in front of him because Clindy, right there, kind of hot into a zone. That was a local yellow. If we go back and look at the Clindy car, he's missing a front wing. So Clindy's car was behaving differently under braking going into that zone, and with the car behind him gaining so quickly because of, actually in real IndyCar racing, Clindy probably would have been going down the front straightaway much faster because he had one less Aero inhibitor up at the front to slow him down. But the braking zone changed for Clindy, realizing that he is handling a different race car, and that's going to change the braking zone for the driver behind him. And that's kind of what we saw what happened. The other driver all of a sudden saw that he was going to be into the back end of Clindy. He hits the brakes, turns the wheel, spins out, and then other drivers coming into the zone, that's what collects the rest of the wreck.
Yeah, I believe it was the 88 car, just locked those rear and just wasn't able to get off of the racing line before faster traffic behind was approaching. But as we kind of saw there for a little bit, Luis Nunez did make the pass on him on back for a second, so he's going to have to now re-close that gap up to Solowaj and see if he can put another move onto him. But hopefully this time there's not contact in turn 1, and it's not so as scrappy as what happened last time. Now this is your championship leader, the 37 of Kyle Clenworth. That bright paint car going off the track slightly. He's in a huge battle I can't even tell where that is. That is
Dufresne. This is on the south end of the racetrack. We got Dufresne and Pressey right behind him. Clindy missing the left front wing plane on his Dallara. So this is going to really slow him down in this very slow speed, more technical portion of the racetrack. Now, He's going to come down the front straight. He's going to be down on speed probably, but real IndyCar racing, that's one less aero downforce element, so he should be going faster down the straightaway. But here comes Dufresne to the inside, takes a peek, not going to take, he's going to send it. And that's what I was talking about earlier. That's what kind of caused that last wreck, is that Clindy has to change his braking points because he doesn't have all that downforce on the front to help his car make that turn in. So he's got to back that braking point up further down the racetrack, and that's how Dufresne got around Clindy. So right now Pressey, is going to be in the very similar boat, as now we come into another braking zone, and watch Pressey as he gets really close. Look, under braking right there, and that's the difference in braking zones that the Clindy has to adjust for with that missing front wing element.
Yeah, and that was really interesting from the 78's perspective there, because it almost looked like he didn't want to make the move. He just got the inside for fresh air, maybe to save a dummy. But then when he realized how far back Kyle Cledworth had to brake just because of that front wing damage, he kind of accidentally sent the move, accidentally got the pass done. But when you brake when you're supposed to, and the other driver just brakes that much earlier than you, you're able to kind of send that dive bomb because you can just keep your car to control very, very well. As now we have Nicholas Pressey. He's going to be the next one to make this move onto Clenworth in at 94. And just like we saw with Dufresne, this probably won't be too difficult for him because of that front wing damage. But no, Clenworth actually able to hold up, but he's going to be very, very slow through these upcoming corners because they're very high downforce, very front undependent.
Yeah, we're going to go right through the chicane here, and then I'm going to imagine that Pressey's going to be on the button, and he is going to try to stay in the draft. Now, Clindy did a good job. He actually gets a little bit of a buffer. Now is Pressey going to take a shot to the inside? I don't think he's close enough, even if with a broken element on Clindy. Back up front, we got a battle for the lead. It is Nunez all of a sudden reeled in and caught Soul Edge, and he really reeled him in. I was watching this as we were watching the other battle. He reeled him in from 4/10 of a second back, a little bit further back. Julian in a big-time battle with Saul and Crocker, as that was a three-way car battle through the turn 4 infield portion. As Julian now starts to pull away. Crocker in that plaid car, starting to take a look to the inside, now the outside. Now he's going to stay right in behind Soul. And Vogelzang, who has hemorrhaged a little bit of some positions to start this race. He's down 3 spots. He's starting to reel this group in too. We are more than halfway through lap 12 of 20.
And now I think we're going to get a replay of that overtake for the lead. Of course, that was Luis Nunez on Castex Solowaj. Probably just going to get it done into turn 1 here. Let's see, does he choose the outside or the inside? Well, Solowaj has already chosen the inside, so Nunez is going to have to choose the outside. And just once again, really, really swervy from the driver of that yellow machine, but just sails right around the outside with those better tires because, of course, they are primaries compared to those 12-lap-old alts that are really, really going to fall off. And that's a big lockup from the 20 machine of Eve Tink, and that lets the 12.
Liam's on by.
And, right by, yeah.
Yeah, and let's Liam on by, and not out of the picture yet is Julian. And this is, now we start talking about racing with teammates. And not only are you racing with teammates, you're racing with the team boss. So rule 1 of racing teammates is thou shalt not wreck your teammate. Rule 2 is see rule 1. And then rule 3 is thou shalt definitely not wreck your boss. So Ethan's in a very tight situation, literally a rock and a hard place right here, where he has Liam O'Sullivan, a teammate in front of him, and then the team owner right behind him. How hard do you race here, and are there any team orders? Watching how they're racing, I don't think there's any team orders.
Yeah, and this is a 3, 4, 5, 6 for Alternate Autosports right now, as Amon Law is also a part of that crew. So great race so far from them, as they are really taking that back of the podium position and then a lot of that top 10. And of course, the people they're racing with right now in the series, Rogue Racing, that's Kyle Clenworth, who's really had a rough racing, has that front wing damage. And the other person is Jesper Orman, who's currently back in 15th. So this is a huge points pickup for Alternate Autosport, which, remember, that gap back to second of Rogue Racing is only 2 points. So this is going to give them a big points gap going into the second race here at the Indy GP. But look at that, Gary, 2-second gap that Nunez has pulled over Solowaj And yeah, we talk about the group, we talk about how they're all teammates. Look at how they're behaving. They're staying in line. They're not doing anything dumb. And they'll only go for a move if they can get side by side into the corner. And they're definitely not going to dive bomb each other.
And just take a look at the push-to-pass situation also with some of these cars, as we are now, we talked about it, you could use the button every single lap if you want to, as we are now 14 of 20 into this thing in the push-to-pass situation. Nunez has plenty at 91, Solwich has plenty also at 80. Lal on the button now, Sullivan 73, Altena 77. Evetink on the button now, Sol 39 seconds. Crocker has over 100 seconds left. Vogelzang is on the button, and Seigers is now at 11 seconds left with 5 laps to go. He's at a disadvantage now. He has spammed that button like he's playing Mario Kart.
Yeah, and look at Christensen and Millward, who both have 144 to 184 seconds of push to pass. I don't even think there's 184 seconds of straights left in this race. So I'm pretty curious to see how they're going to use that, and maybe they just kind of forgot to use it, Gary.
Sometimes if you get used to racing on ovals a lot, that's a button you don't map. But some kind of a button that you specifically map for road courses. We will, I think, get pushed to pass on the ovals in an update coming up when we finally get the hybrid on these cars. But right now, the push-to-pass is not available on ovals with the IR18. However, in the past, in IndyCar history, there have been push-to-pass available on ovals. In fact, actually on the IR05 and the IR09, it used to be specifically, but it's not available in the sim. But that is something that we have seen traditionally on IndyCars in the past. Maybe we'll see it again. Hopefully we see it with the hybrid. But also going back to, you're talking about Klindy and Jesper Orman. Both those guys for Rogue Racing. Both those guys are going to be more of your oval experts right now. And this is kind of the strength of Team VOR, and especially in the Velocity Online Racing League. I'm a former Team VOR driver, and we've won many in the past, many team championships. And a lot of it had to do with the VOR drivers being so much better on road courses, even though this is a more oval-heavy league. So what you have, like, an average race, average schedule, like 9 races is what we're having this year, and maybe a third of those races are on road courses, and the rest are on ovals. If you make up all that ground, you lose on the ovals on the road courses when you do well there, and that's always seemed to be the strength of Team VOR in the past, or Altena Autosports. But right now, Luis Nunez has worked his way out to a huge lead with coming to 3 to go. 4 to go.
Those primaries are really doing a good job for Nunez here, and I can talk a bit more about those alternates, because let me tell you, running those for 20 laps feels absolutely terrible. The rears burn up so quickly, they overheat so fast, and out of every single corner you feel like you're losing the car, you feel like you're sliding into every corner, and the rears just don't bite the racetrack like you want them to. But those primaries, they hold firm, they hold steady, and they'll give you a grip. As here we go, pass that looked to be Vogelzang on Evetink for 8th, and Crocker in front of Evetink actually locks up as well. Nothing is going to change. They're going to hold that 7, 8, 9 so far, and further back in the field, I believe, is that Jesper Orman in the 2 car. It is.
Around, yeah.
So he got around Millward.
Yeah, he got around Millward, and Orman, former series champion, so he does well enough on the road courses, and he's picked up 8 spots, so he is no slouch. He is. Don't lead me wrong, though, and I don't want to lead you wrong, but, Klindy and Orman are both oval guys, but Klindy's still working on his road course craft. But Orman, underrated on the ovals, and he is your biggest gainer right now in this field, up 8 spots.
Yeah, from 21st to 13th, that does seem pretty underrated on the roads indeed. And yeah, just looking through the field, not a lot of close battles. The closest one I see is Sol on Altena, but like we said a bit earlier, probably not too much going to happen with that, as of course. Wait, what happened to the whole Altena Autosport 3, 4, 5, 6 there? Where did... Oh, Evetink actually lost a couple spots.
He got passed. I think Mike had a little moment further on back. I don't know if we could see that in the race logs, but he is back to 8th. I think we're going to get a battle here before we round this thing out. It was looking like a battle for 2nd. Lal was right there, and I think Lal and Solwich are in, and we're going to, I think, get a replay of kind of what happened here. But Lal and Solwich are on equal playing field here with both those red tires.
Yeah. So it just kind of goes to who saved their tires, who pushed their tires out more, and if that battle advances any farther, as Eftink now fighting Vogelzang very hard. I believe he just got passed again. So Eftink, he was very running in 6th, literally 3 or 4 laps ago, all the way back into 9th now. So not the best run he's had here. Maybe he pushed out his ults a little too hard, and these primary tires of other drivers are starting to, show up, or the drivers that just didn't push their tires as hard, maybe they're now finding the pace to pass him, because not only did he just lose the spot to Vogelzang, look at that, Heitzema right on his tail as well. As we cut to Nunez, he's got a 7-second gap, and now it's actually Eftink making the move, or looking for the move, I should say, onto Vogelzang into turn 1. So yeah, Eftink just really trying to hold on to these tires, because to me, it looks like he has really pushed them out.
And Sol is pulled away from that group right there, and he's actually catching Altena and O'Sullivan for 4th and 5th. So he might have time with those prime tires. Well, he might get one. I don't know if he'll get both, but we're into the last lap here as Nunez is getting ready to take the white flag.
Yeah, I just want to correct a mistake. The car right behind Eftink, that is, of course, not Heitzema, because he is 6 seconds back. It is a lap car actually directly behind Eftink. And yes, as you said, Nunez now takes that white. It's going to be 1 to go, 1 more lap. What will these drivers do? Will they dive bomb each other? How much are they willing to risk?
Final lap, the lap before the final lap, Luis Nunez just throws a purple down. Insult to injury, everybody on this field. He runs most of the race in 2nd place and kind of bides his time, and now he's rocketed out to a 7.5-second lead. And on the next to last lap, he says, here, let me just throw a purple lap down at everyone's feet.
Yeah, saves, I think, one of my teammates, his name's Alif, he likes to do that a lot, where he saves all his push to pass, he saves all his tires. It just sets a really quick lap on low fuel counts, just to kind of
Julian to the inside.
Everybody else says yes, the move.
One straight. And nice pass by Julian on his teammate on the white flag lap.
Yeah, boss on teammate. So I don't know if he was overcome. He's like, hey, let me by, Liam. Probably not, but yeah.
He might have been. Who knows? But coming off the
crazy
corner in race 1, our defending series champion gets win number 1 of the season. It is Luis Nunez with the Lewis weave going down the front straight after getting the win. Going into turn 1, Kostik Solwedge comes home 2nd. And Aman Lal, who got a win earlier this season, comes home in 3rd. Julian beats out Employee in 4th and 5th. Liam O'Sullivan 5th. And Sol with those prime tires, he moves up 2 spots from where he started, comes home 6th. Crocker in 7th. Vogelzang in 8th. Eftink in 9th. And Hatsuma up 7 spots. Your 2nd biggest gainer of the day is in 10th. And I think Orman might have got 1 more spot there at the end and got the 12th and improved 9 spots over the course of these 20 laps.
Yeah, so great stuff from him. Road racing really just trying to, what's the word I'm looking for?
Trying to survive in this one. This is what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
And here's Clindy. Oh, the car behind him trying to run him down, spins out. That's Dan Inch, but Clindy's going to survive and get himself 21st place. Only down 1 from where he started. Overall, not too bad considering he was running with damage for much of this race. Here comes Dan Inch, and that should pretty much round out all cars remaining here in race 1 for the Velocity Online Racing Series, the Indianapolis Infield Road Course round.
It's going to be interesting. Nunez starting from 10th position. We know, Gary, that he is the quickest driver on this grid by a pretty considerable margin. How will he be patient with these guys that are slower than him? Will he try to just push out, overtake a car every single corner? Or will he bide his time, or, be a little more patient with them, say, okay, now that here's the straight, let me make my move? And of course, how are the other drivers going to respond to him? Are they going to, wear out their tires trying to fight someone they know who's quicker, or are they just going to let him by? A lot of questions that have to be answered, and that is why I love this inverted top 10 so much.
The tire situation is a lot different for race 2. The primes are now dominant tires on the course. Your first two rows on the first two on the prime, then the next row on the reds, then a prime. Then we have 6th, 7th, and 8th on the prime, and then we are on the reds, and then we have 9th, 10th, and 11th all on the prime. So we're going to see a lot of different weaving and bobbing here as we are going 3 wide mid-pack already as Hatsuma is going to try to full send it. Ethan going to look on the outside, but there's no place to go. And here comes Liam O'Sullivan to the inside, and he's going to full send it in contact with the car, and can send it to him, and we are piling up in turn 1 and involved in Luis Nunez.
Almost the entirety of the field there, Gary, just got on the curb, broke too late, ran into the car on the outside. And who is our leader now? I can't quite tell who that is.
Sullivan, but
Liam O'Sullivan survived everything.
I think he has a damaged left front wing. I think he has a damaged left front wing, and Vogelzang's going to take advantage of that and send it to the inside into 7, and they're going to make contact.
Yeah, that's O'Sullivan now will take the lead, I think, as we have a car around this. Katie Pollock around with no rear wing. She's going to reset that back to pit lane as the fight lead still continues.
It's coming off the quarter, got on the oval turn 2 into the south short chute, and outside O'Sullivan's going to keep the momentum. But right now, I think O'Sullivan, and looking at the braking zone, here comes Julian. But I hear Vogelzang gets the pass. Julian's going to get the pass, and Kinder is going to get the pass because I think O'Sullivan is walking wounded out there.
Yeah, O'Sullivan definitely involved in that crash, although he didn't spin around, has front damage, and now Austin for the lead.
On the red tires, and I think really the car that's sitting in prime position is Seb Kinder on the prime tires, and here comes Eve Tink. Kinder's up 7 spots.
Yeah, here we go. Altena not gonna want to let down on Vogelzang. Altena, a veteran of this league, has a lot of race wins, the most starts out of everybody. He's gonna put the pressure on Vogelzang, as now we have a fight for 5th place in here.
Eve Tink to the inside. Oh, getting on that hard under power, gets the car squirrely. These cars all right here. We have Eve Tink, Kinder, Seigers. They're all on the primes. And then Solwedge, he's there. He's on the prime. He learned. Orman, he's on the alt. He's up 4 spots. Your biggest gainer right now is Nick Pressey. Nick is up 8 spots. And also Muriani is up 11 spots. But a lot of those passes for those drivers are because of the massive turn 1 fracas that we saw with that fight for the lead.
As now Nunez down 6 spots from 10th all the way to 16th, driving with a heavily wounded car, 46
Julian
seconds off the lead, is now for the win, or for the lead I should say.
He gets the pass, and they're gonna have lap traffic in front of him. Julian, Solwedge through the grass. He's gotta get back those spots. But in front of Julian, we got Hatsuma and Vitor, who have come out of the pits under repair. And now he's got to navigate lap traffic already as he goes wide down the Holman straight now. To the inside, here comes Vogelzang.
And that's going to be a tough competition for the lead here as, it's a wasp's nest, absolute hornet's nest behind for, I believe that's 9th place. Solo-wise is going to lose out to Crocker on that occasion. So Crocker now moves up to 8th. Now he can turn his attention to that 98 of Seegers, and Armand just ahead of them as well. So not only do we have great battles for the lead, these back top 10 spots, there is huge fighting going on. And I believe that's somebody going wide. That might just be a lap car though.
Yako's going wide, and actually he gets passed by Aiden. Aiden now up to 9th. Back up front, it is Julian setting a purple lap as he gets on by Hatsuma, who was involved in that first turn incident. So now he has a little bit of a buffer now for the 12-time winner here in the series, former series champion. He is 3rd all-time in wins here in this series behind Jesper Orman, Alex Van de Sant, and he is tied with the Brazilian Storm, Bruno Miranda, down the back straight as we see cars starting to fan out. Eve Tink now in 4th spot, O'Sullivan in 3rd, Vogelzang 2nd, Orman up to 6th, Kinder now in 5th.
As yeah, Orman in 6th, Crocker behind in 7th. Solo wide, remember, got 2nd in that first race, moved up to 8th when Jaco Seegers made that mistake, currently sitting 9th, and Millward now in 10th behind.
Nunez with a little red mist going on. Purple lap set there with a 1:12, a 1:12.1.
And now we're going to get a replay of that lap on chaos.
Yeah. Turn 1. Fracas coming here at the start. And we got to, yeah, there, watch this. The 3 wide right there in the mid-pack. And it really started up front with contact, I think, starting with, it actually started with Liam O'Sullivan. I think someone kind of cut across his nose. He spun them, and then everyone kind of piled in. So watch, we're going to throw O'Sullivan to the inside. Yeah, and just turning down and everyone going to escape roads, people going through the grass. It was just all sorts of chaos going on back there. And then I think we're going to watch Katie Pollock here.
Yeah.
Down the Holman straight, cars, all sorts of damaged cars floating. Oh, there's where contact happens. Oh, and the back wing just, that's what happened. The back wing delaminated, just kind of fell down with contact. And that's exactly what an IndyCar will do when you lose its back wing.
That was confusing what happened to her, and now we can kind of see what happened just a couple seconds ago. Millward loses it into turn 1, spins it around, avoids contact.
Lucky. Yeah, that little brake, got to change the brake bias there as the back end just kind of was a little bit faster than the front end and swaps in coming to the braking zone. And we got more cars going off into the braking zone right now in turn 1. Not sure who that was. It might have been a lapped car. Vinci? I think it was, okay, I think it might have been Vinci, but he's down in the order, but is back under power right now. So we got a heck of a field shakeup. Right now, let's reset everything as we are now a quarter of the way through this race. Julian is your leader. Right behind him is Vogelzang, who is in 2nd. Tink is in 3rd. Tink is down 1 spot, but has recovered well. Liam O'Sullivan is currently driving damage, and if you can't really see, it's going to be the left front wing plane is at a slightly different angle, and it is kind of sticking up there. So that's going to be a damaged front wing element that he's going to either have to get changed, which is going to be a 5-second penalty on pit road, or just live with for the remainder of this race. The race is short. He's probably just going to live with it. Seb Kinder, now he is back in 5th and also in a pretty prime position because he's got the prime tires. And pretty much everyone in front of him, with the exception of Tink, are on the alternate. So he might be able to make some moves here, mid-race to late race, and maybe get onto that bottom step. But that's Seb Kinder, Team Watson Racing. Then we got back in 6th spot, Marshall Crocker. Crocker right behind him is Kostik Solwich. Solwich on a heart attack right now, going down the backstretch on the button. Actually, Crocker defending on the button. Solwich not even using the button. He's just using the draft, and he might use the braking zone to sneak to the inside. Not going to happen. Is Crocker really just kind of left the defensive line very shallow and not a lot of options for Solwich to go. Right behind Solwich, a very interesting party in Jesper Orman, a 2-time defending series champion. He is up to 8th.
And now I want to turn our attention to Kyle Clenworth in the 10th position. The first race did not go how he wanted it to, but with the chaos, he's really been able to advance himself in the pack. That's going to be up 11 spots, I believe, Gary. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But that is huge for Clenworth, as now he's looking at a Jaco Seegers who's had a little bit of trouble getting this car under control, and he just might be able to make a move for 9th. Down in turn 1, but he hits the wall! Hits the wall coming out the ultimate corner, and that's going to kill his momentum.
Glendy's racecraft on ovals, or excuse me, on road courses is getting better. And part of it is when you learn to drive these things, there's 2 things. First, when you learn to drive on the IndyCar, you really just need to learn to race the racetrack, right? You can't be racing other people around you. You got to master the car on the racetrack. Once you master the car on the racetrack, then you could start to race the other cars around you. He's he's moving beyond the stage of racing the racetrack as we see a car wide down the Holman Straight. Not sure what happened to that car. Clinty takes a peek to the inside of the braking zone, turn 7. Not going to be able to get there. Got squirrely car. He just was working on getting that car under control. Going to try to reset, but that puts him back into the grasp of Pim Van Gastel and Pressey.
Yeah, he's going to have to be careful because if Clenworth makes a mistake, Van Gistel, you said it, right there behind him, hoping that they crash, hoping that, waiting for his door to open, finding the opportunity, trying to sneak into this top 10. So Clenworth, he can be aggressive. He can send some moves onto Seegers. Obviously, as you see, he has more pace, but he has to be careful. If he dives bomb down the inside, locks up, that could be it. He can get past as now Solo Eyes looks on the inside of Crocker. This is for 6 once again.
It's the pass in the braking zone. Move him up one more spot. Oh, Clindy tried to get under Seegers, and he goes sideways into turn 1. And right behind him is Pim. Had to take a go evasive, and Pim just missed the action. But capitalizing and getting in position was Pressey.
Was interesting. I'm curious if we can see a replay. Here it is perfectly right on cue. Thank you to our producer Nolan. So let's see what happens here to Clever. Oh, really sideways. Able to keep it relatively straight though, and doesn't even lose a position because he kind of just blocked the track accidentally.
Yeah, he's going to have to work on that brake bias here, probably adjust it to go maybe a little bit more forward. The way that he just kind of hit the brakes and went sideways immediately makes it think that maybe he had a little too much rear brake bias, but we'll see this one more time as now Pressey now in 11th, Clindy in 10th. Clindy up 11 spots here, right? The other big gainer is Murphyani in 14th, up 11 spots. But remember, a lot of that was after the first turn chaos. But again, some of the easiest passes made are those when the cars are on pit road.
Yeah, sometimes you make up spots just from other people crashing out, other people getting unfortunate. And especially on the ovals in this league, that's what happens a lot too. Just kind of sitting back, biding your time, waiting for others to be too aggressive, waiting for others to make netcode contact, because in iRacing, it really is inevitable, especially no matter what league you're in. I remember I was racing a race Thursday night in this exact same car around Vegas. I was running in the top 5, the top 6 a lot of the time, but I really just played my time well. Just waited for others to kind of make contact, waited for others to make mistakes, and I was able to just finish on the podium, not too much because I had the most pace in the car, not because I outpaced everybody else, just purely for surviving. So survival really has to be in these drivers' minds throughout the entire race here.
Say that the YouTube, or not the YouTube, the Netflix series with the F1 guys that Drive to Survive is more than just a title. It is that actual strategy as we move back, as we continue to watch this battle in the mid-pack with Clindy. And we got Seegers, Pressey, Pim Van Gastel. I mean, everybody, as you mentioned, hornet's nest going on here in the mid-pack in the bottom portion of the top 10. Crocker is now attacking to the inside of Seb Kinder as they are now all within a bunch of lap traffic. Oh, and Jesper Orman. Oh, we got a spin, and it takes out one of the leaders, and that is Dan Inch collecting Crocker.
Yeah, it's huge contact for those drivers. Crocker is able to stay in. Seegers has built a huge gap behind, just not being on the pace as much as he would like to be, and kind of holding up this train of cars. Look at that. All the way from Yako to Marani, that is 9th to 14th. That entire pack of cars really being slowed down by that light blue. But now we get a replay to see what happened here, as that's just a little bit of contact. That collects two other drivers.
It looked like Seb kind of got it to the inside of Dan Inch, and you talked about it. And with these cars, and especially this being a European-based league, the specter of netcode is always hanging over all of these drivers. And it doesn't take much for the predictive code here on iRacing to detect a possible, or what it thinks is going to be a collision, because these cars race so fast. They are that much faster than everything else on the entire service. And so netcode with these Indy cars is chronically bad. It's getting better, but lately it's been chronically bad. And there goes Clindy to the backside of Seegers one more time and gets it there, but has to lock it up But Seigers has got to be salivating right now, as right now he doesn't have the pace because he's really holding up everyone behind him, but he sees a damaged car, Crocker, in front of him, and that is a free spot effectively.
Yeah, you talk about the free spot. If Seegers can get past, and not only Seegers, but Clenworth now looking for the move. Can he finally get it to 7 laps up?
And that right there is a road course experience thing. Clendy's still trying to hone that craft and getting to the inside there, and just the car getting twitchy. That is an experience thing. So right now behind him, Pressy in the Mach 5, trying to get a line on the road racing driver to the inside this time with Clendy. Over the pass, over Jaco, and he got it slow, but Jaco's going to have the momentum on the outside. Clendy to the inside, side by side. Clendy's going to complete the pass, move Clendy up to the top, inside now, the top 10. Can he hold on to it as Jaco goes wide, clips the grass? Now they're going to do the weave down the front straight as Clendy's now defending the position, going to keep it as they're all on the button.
Yeah, there's no way Seegers can send it from back here unless he does, unless I'm wrong. No, he's going to opt out of that because that would just be a way to not only end your night, but also Clenworth's night and have yourself a penalty for the next race. So smart there from Seegers to not send that in, but now that releases Clenworth to get past that damaged car of Crocker and maybe even catch up to his teammate in front of Jesper or Mine. So of course those rogue racing cars, they lost a lot of ground in the first race to Alternate Autosport, and they're still gonna lose a lot of ground here because I believe Julian Altena, of course, is winning the race, and as well Liam O'Sullivan. Roden Eftink and Liam Sullivan, 3rd and 5th. So Rogue Racing really just having to play damage control here. As you said earlier, Gary, those Alternate Autosports cars are great on these road courses.
Altena the leader, Vogelzang in second. Altena leads by 1.8. Vogelzang in second, mentioned Eftink in third, Soul Wedge. Kostic is in fourth on the button, and he is in a battle with Liam O'Sullivan in fifth, as he has a pretty decent cushion over Liam right now. Right behind Liam is a lap car and Vitor Garami. Then Seb Kinder, that is the next car for position for Kinder right there. Kinder is in the 6th spot. Jesper Orman right behind Kinder. And we got Clendy spinning, and that's going into turn 1. And all those positions that he gained, well, there you go. He just gave them all back.
All that hard work trying to get past Jaco Seegers, and it's all gone. Just like that, one mistake in racing is enough to completely ruin your race. And we saw it earlier when he was attacking Seegers, that rear brake bias. We really got to bring that more frontwards because that is not a car he's under control of in the braking zone.
And that is something they can change in the cockpit. One of the mappable items here in a fixed race. And Murphyani down a spot. Luis Nunez now up a spot, trying to recover from that turn 1 incident. Murphyani now back. Murphyani, yeah, if I say that right. And again, if I'm butchering anyone's names, just hit me up in the VOR Discord and send me a voice memo of how to say your name. It's probably the best way, and I will do my best. But Luis Nunez now up to 14th, and the next car in front of him is John Christensen from 44 Nation. Your boy has had a bit of a rough race. He's down in 22nd now, just trying to bring that car home. But this is just for battle for track position. Nunez around Christensen. So this again just for 14th, and he has a bit of a gap to get to Clendy, who's already in the turn 1 area. But man, look at this. Presley, Seigers, Millward, everybody. Millward now to the outside. Into the inside now is Pressy. 3 wide down the straight. Almost out of bounds. Pressy to the inside. He's going to send it there in the Mach 5. Millward bangs wheels. Clendy picks back up positions again.
This is so much fun to watch. I don't think I've ever seen Indy cars go 3 into 7 and Pressy goes off the racetrack. There he goes.
He picked up. He goes back to 13th.
Oh my gosh, chaos in Indianapolis.
Here goes Clendy to the inside, and he clips. Under braking, he clips Seigers, and that's going to, Millward just kind of, well, I'm holding my line, and picks up all those positions and move Aiden up to 9th. Now Pim to 10th. Presley to 11th. Clendy back to 12th.
And look at that front damage for Seeger.
Seeger has no choice. He's got to come to pit road, yeah. Glindy has to come to pit road. He has no front wing, but he might just try to rough it out here over the next 4 laps or so.
Yeah, here's a replay, because I definitely want to take another look at that. And Gary, I'm sure you do as well, because so much Clenworth now on the inside, right as we're exiting the banking, and just, once again, change your brake bias, please, Clenworth. You do not have control of your rears as you're holding that brake pedal. You have to move it frontwards. You just are getting too much rotation, and it is not drivable.
I think if Clindy had his choice, I think he'd probably take that one back. I think he just sent it late there, and car wasn't going to turn, and that's what happened. I think if he could take it back, he would take it back. But we are now 4 to go with Julian now continuing to pull away over Vogelzang in second spot. But Tink has now caught Vogelzang, and Vogelzang on the red tires. So this is a disadvantage right now for Vogelzang, as Tink now getting a run down the backstretch. He's going to take a look to the outside camera angle now on the outside going into 7, and Vogelzang keeps the position on the inside. I think Tink just kind of biding his time now. He knows, especially in this portion, look at how he just closes the gap here in this slower portion of the infield with all that extra grip he has. Does he take a peek coming into infield turn 12? Nope, thought about it.
Smart to just kind of play back there. I mean, no point in trying to send anything too dumb. And yeah, maybe wait for the main straight, get the button, get that push to pass going, and this is where he can make it through, Gary.
And they're both on the button, but right now, Tink is in the draft of Vogelzang, and that's what's going to allow him to eat that distance to the inside going into turn 1. A battle for P2 right here on the racetrack in the closing stages, and move the VOR car up to P2. Vogelzang now back to 3rd. Can Solwedge now close the gap? Solwedge on the prime tire with just a handful of laps remaining.
Yeah, now, Gary, the question in my mind is, there's only 3 laps to go, but remember, Altena also on those alternate tires. Can Road Tank close that gap in 3 laps and maybe have a fight for the lead here?
I don't think so. We'll see. If he does, it's going to be a massive comeback. I will give him all the credit in the world. Because of that pass, that has allowed Julian now to get about a 3.5 second buffer over his team, over his employee in second spot. Vogelzang in 3rd on push to pass, trying to reel in Etik again and get that spot back, and all the while stay ahead of Solwedge. And I think really we are going to have a battle here for the bottom step of the podium here in the closing stages.
That's, I believe, the 67 fighting some battles. We're looking at battles all throughout the grid here. That's once again that bright pink car of Clenworth that does not have a front wing from that contact with Jakob Seegers. As now we're back to, I believe, I'm not too good with the liveries yet. This is for 5th place. This is Sullivan. O'Sullivan and Kinder now. Kinder, the car behind that red, white, and blue. O'Sullivan in that 12 machine ahead. And this is a huge tire disparity. Once again, primes versus the alts. Where will Kinder move? How will he choose to do it? It's all a matter of time because of the alt advantage. Now we have the fight for 3rd, as you said. It's Solowaj on the outside of Vogelzang. Not able to get it done there, but maybe he has a chance coming into the next down straight here.
He's going to have to get a good run either coming into oval turn 12 and 13, or get a run down the front straight into turn 1. But here we watch him again coming into that turn. Whoa, look at all the gaining ground he gets under braking. It just shows you how much the car is behaving under those better tires right now. The red tires are well past their prime. The prime tires are in their prime. And here we're going to have a drag race down the front straight. Can Kostic, white flag in the air, get the bead on Vogelzang in 3rd. This is a battle for the bottom step of the podium. Kostic's going to send it full send to the inside. White flag lap. And he's not going to be able to get the position. He's going to have only a couple more opportunities to try to get that pass. Meanwhile, back up front, Julian Altena out to a 4-second lead.
Yeah, now we have Kinder on the outside of O'Sullivan. This is once again for 5th place. Another tire disparity battle there. They hold position for go. Solo wide once again. He's on. He's not on the button. Sorry. He doesn't have any button left, or I'm sure he'd be using it. He's going to try the outside once again of Solo wide. Just Solo wide on Vogelzang, and they're getting so close to each other. They're risking net kill. They don't care. And now Solo wide gets it done through the inside of the S's.
I think that's it. That's all he needed to do. They're both Winchester on push to pass. So they have mashed the button, but here is Julian coming in to turn 12, now turn 13, and turn 14, and the first time in a little bit since last season. He now breaks a tie and is third place all alone in league history and wins. Julian Altena win at Indianapolis on the road course. Battle for second is Etink. He comes home in second, and Solwedge gets the run at third, and Vogelzang just so close. He was in the draft, but just didn't have the tires to pull off that pass for third.
And Kinder on the last lap also got past.
Yeah, he got O'Sullivan. Yeah, Kinder gets fifth. O'Sullivan goes back to sixth. Here's a battle for 10th. Cressy, Pim Van Gastel on the button. Both of them on the button, trying to do a bit of a defensive weave, and Pim gets the spot. Pressy, 11th. Nunez, 12th.
What a brilliant second race there, Gary. The top 10 invert. I love it so much because it gives you the chaos that you want to see from sim racing races. It really gives you the excitement of the from behind, trying to pass the cars that may not have the pace of the others. And it really gives us the excitement that I'm looking for. And great second race there from Roden Evetink. I believe, I don't two systems work here, but I believe that just might put Evetink in the championship lead now because Clenworth didn't have the best of races.
There you see the top 10 in his Altena, Evetink, Solwedge, Vogelzang, Kinder, O'Sullivan, Orman, Crocker, Millward, Pim Van Gassel, and that whole bottom portion of that top 10 right there, they were fighting tooth and nail all race long. Moving back to the next page, we got Pressy, Nunez, Miriani, Sol, Clindy, Strauss, Vitor, Hatsama, Vince, and Dufresne. That is your top 20. And then rounding out the remainder of the field, Christensen, Seigers, Lal goes from the podium in race 1 to no podium here. That's going to hurt in the points. As my phone is ringing. Sorry, that is the bullpen calling. And there you see the remainder of the top 25 that took the green flag here. And the race number 2 of our 2-race sprint race weekend here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Thanks for joining us, everybody. All right, well, I think this is a good place where we're going to wrap things up. Reminder, next week we are going to be at Indianapolis for the big 500-miler. There might be a difference in time, so make sure to pay attention to the channel for broadcast time in your area. But I do have a quick readout here, and we'll get everyone else on their way. So that's going to be it for today. The first podium, or first winner, was Luis Nunez getting the win there. The second winner was Julian Altena, and then Evetink and Solwedge were on the podium here for a race number 2. Join us again next week for the 14th running of the Velocity Online Racing Indy 500. Coverage will start in your area, I think, at 2 p.m. But again, make sure to pay attention to the channel here at youtube.com. Just search Green Flag TV. Set the reminders there. Correct broadcast time in your area will be right there on the website. Just make sure to help them out on the algorithm here. Please support us by leaving likes. Leave a comment if you like today's race. If you enjoyed today's coverage, support us by smashing like on the video. If you're new, click subscribe, and while you at it, hit the bell so you get updated on every other race that Green Flag has here on Green Flag TV has here for iRacing. They have a ton of them. For business inquiries to learn more about Velocity Online Racing and what to do, visit velocityonlineracing.com. Like them on Facebook or follow them on Twitter. So for everyone here at Green Flag TV, Velocity Online Racing, I'm Gary Godsoe, saying to all, happy Saturday. Thanks for watching, everybody, and to all of our men and women serving in the military and as first responders. Godspeed, God bless, and come home safe. Catch us again right here next week for the big 500, the 14th running of the Indy 500 of the Velocity Online Racing IndyCar Series for the next race of the VOR IndyCar Series. We'll check it out, guys, here. Take care. Have a good Saturday. Catch you next time.